are most of your buys from a conventional or unconventional buy point? Ed, would you like to kick us off here?
I'd say most of them have been early because, and partly because we go to these uptrends that, when they do hit a breakout point, it sort of runs straight up so many of these times. The closest things to a real resistance. So I've been doing early. I think that's been the safer way to go in this market rotation. I'm not opposed to breakouts. I think I've done some, but that's what I've been doing.
Very good. How about you, David?
Answering this question, it also depends on the market. And yeah, right now, I seem to be buying a little bit more from an unconventional buy point, more on pullbacks like the example we just went over, pulling back on top of a basis. But I'm still buying breakouts like the Generac I bought on the breakout. Early in a market move, let's say we've gone through an 8% or a 10% correction, and stocks have nice bases, and maybe at that point I'll be buying more conventional, right as it's hitting the new highs. As the market goes on, then I think it changes a little bit as we get farther and farther in the move. So right now, I don't know, I would probably say 60% unconventional and 40% conventional. The one other thing I would like to add to that, though, is when I started working at O'Neill, it was at the beginning of a great bull market in 1982, and I had this had very good performance. I think I doubled my account from 82 into 83, but then from 83 to 84. I lost it all back and more. And I sat down one weekend and I found that what I was doing was buying too many extended stocks and I was getting chopped up. So I came to this decision of saying, okay, I'm going to do just one thing and one thing correctly. And I said, I'm only going to buy breakouts that are absolutely perfect. Anything else, anything that's extended, anything that's not a perfect setup, then I'm going to avoid. And that's when I really started turning around my performance. If you're starting out new, I wouldn't get concerned with, I wouldn't try unconventional buy points or pullbacks. I would look for just perfect setups and just wait for those and get good at those. And then when you start getting good at that and you've made some progress, then I think you can start, going to earlier buy points or pullback buys and things like that. But exactly what O'Neill lays down, cups and handles or flat bases and buying right when they're coming out. That's what I would concentrate on, especially if you're just starting.
That's really an excellent point. I pretty much would echo what David and Ed have said. I think the show has also helped a lot of people, including myself, really identify these early buy points. And so we have the draw the line strategy. We have the trend line that you can draw from the top of the base or near the top of the base and trying to connect as many relevant highs within that base. Those are very good. Pullbacks back to such a level after the breakout can be another way to be an unconventional buy point. I found that as an example with the MRVI, that one worked for me very well. But at the same time, just like what David said, if you see an absolute perfect breakout, it's often because that stock also has really all the goods in terms of CanSlim, excellent growth in earnings and sales, number one in its industry, doing something absolutely revolutionary. So when those things happen, and I personally miss the early buy point, I usually will not hesitate in just going for it on the traditional buy point, knowing that likely, even though I bought for 4 or 5 or 10 points higher than I would have liked, maybe this stock really is going to be a big engine of growth. So I think CrowdStrike is probably a good example. Let's go back here. We've highlighted this stock this morning, and it continues to hold above that super high buy point, if you will, 251.38. We were obviously talking about this handle buy point, and that's pretty much when I was buying myself. But also here again, maybe a pullback back to the 21-day or back to these levels over here could give you that unconventional buy point. How about you, Chris?
I completely agree with with the best stocks, and especially if you go back and look at the big winners, and I think like David, when you were showing PayPal last week, that on their first breakout, they might be up a huge amount for the week, and even if you don't get it right at the buy point, it doesn't really matter because they will just keep going.